Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, June 4th. Welcome back to 3 News Now. This is your early update. Thank you for joining us here, where we bring you the top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app, letting you know about everything that's going on here in Northeast Ohio and around the country as it impacts us here in the state of Ohio. We'll start off today talking about something that everyone is talking about on social media and around the country and here in Ohio today. New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees made controversial comments that upset a lot of people, and he is apologizing for those comments this morning. The comments that he made yesterday were surrounding the fact that he said he would not support football players kneeling during the national anthem that's in the upcoming NFL season. But today on social media, he is walking those comments back. In a lengthy statement, he said he would like to apologize to his friends, teammates, the city of New Orleans, the Black community, NFL community, and anyone he hurt with his comments yesterday. In speaking with some people, he said it breaks his heart to know the pain that he has caused. To bring it back to the beginning to let you know what he said, he first said that he will, quote, will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States. This was in an interview with Yahoo Sports. He told a story about his two grandfathers who were a soldier and a Marine and both fought in World War II and risked their lives to protect the country that we all live in and make the world a better place. And then he said, every time I stand with my hand over my heart, looking at that flag and singing the national anthem, that's what I think about. And in many cases, it brings me to tears. Is everything right with this country? No, we still have a long way to go. But I think that standing there and showing respect to the flag with your hand over your heart, it shows unity. It shows that we are all in this together, that we can all do better, and that we are all part of the solution. Now, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way as a topic of conversation with everything going on in the country now related to the demonstrations happening after the death of George Floyd has brought the conversation back up about Colin Kaepernick's 2016 NFL protest where he and others kneeled during the national anthem at the beginning of NFL football games. Kaepernick then went unsigned after that, and Kaepernick had alleged that the league had colluded to keep him out of the NFL because of the stance he took against racial injustice and police brutality. So those comments by Drew Brees evoked all of that conversation again, and fans and athletes, including LeBron James, called out Brees on social media. Here's what James wrote. Wow, man, is it still surprising at this point? Sure isn't. You literally still don't understand why Kaepernick was kneeling on one knee. Has absolutely nothing to do with the disrespect of the American flag and our soldiers, men and women who keep our land free. So Brees, again, apologizing this morning, saying in his statement that he was trying to talk about respect, unity, and solidarity centered around the flag, but he made comments that were insensitive. He said that his comments lacked awareness and compassion and empathy. He also said he wants to make clear where he stands, that he is an ally, that he stands with the Black community, that he condemns years of oppression, and he acknowledges that we as Americans, including himself, have not done enough to fight for that equality or to truly understand the struggles and the plight of the Black community. Brees also went on to say that he realizes he can be part of the solution and can be a leader for the Black community in this moment, and that he'll never know what it's like to be a Black man or raise Black children in America, but he'll work every day to put himself in those shoes to try and fight for what is right, reiterating that he has always been an ally and not an enemy of the Black community. You can see that full statement from Brees on WKYC.com. You can also find it in our WKYC app. Today, there will be a memorial service to honor George Floyd that will be happening in Minneapolis. Family, friends, and strangers around the world will have 4 different opportunities to celebrate the life of George Floyd, who, as we know, died after a Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, kneeled on his neck for almost 9 minutes, and then he died as a result of that. So after more than a week of protests in this country surrounding the death of George Floyd, North Central University will be the center of the very first memorial for George Floyd. That's kicking off today in the afternoon. The service will be held from 1 to 3 p.m., and Reverend Al Sharpton will be delivering the eulogy at that memorial service. So here on Channel 3, NBC's Lester Holt will be broadcasting from the top of the parking garage just across the street from the NCU Sanctuary entryway. So that'll be on TV on Channel 3. Of course, we'll also be streaming that for you on our social platforms. NCU's president, Dr. Scott Hagan, said of the ceremony, It's obvious an incredible moment for the country. We were simply asked if we would be open to hosting it, and of course, our hearts were right there, so we can expect that today. For that reason, Governor Mike Dewine will not hold a 2 p.m. press conference today. He had initially planned on holding a press conference today, but he said that it has been canceled out of respect for today's memorial service for George Floyd in Minneapolis. So any updates for today will be released to the media, of course, so we'll have those for you on WKYC.com, and they'll also be posted online, is what his office has let people know. So some of the things that were expected to be talked about at the press conference today that we do still expect to hear about include details on reopening things like zoos and museums. So we can look for that information later. Looking at the unemployment numbers as we do each Thursday morning, this is the 9th straight week in a decline in new unemployment filings. That's around the country and here in Ohio since those applications spiked in the middle of March. So the number of new unemployment claims in Ohio last week fell again for the 9th straight week in a row. So they're now approaching 1.3 million total claims here in the state of Ohio. So for the week of May 24th through May 30th, that's the week we're looking at right now, 34,575 Ohioans filed brand new unemployment claims, according to the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. So that's about 7,500 fewer claims than were filed last week, according to the department. There are now a total of 1,292,413 people who have filed unemployment claims since the coronavirus first hit us in Ohio, since we first became aware of that on March 9th. To put that in perspective, we have 11.75 million Ohio residents. So that's a significant number of the people living here in Ohio who have filed unemployment claims. Now, not all of those people are still on unemployment, mind you, but that is more than the total number of jobless claims filed in the state during the past 3 years combined. And the weekly record for new unemployment claims, that happened the week ending March 28th when there were 272,188. During the past 11 weeks, the state of Ohio says it's paid $3.5 billion in unemployment benefits to more than 668,000 people. However, at least 77,000 people still have those claims pending. So if you've not yet been able to get that claim in, again, the system has been backlogged. Make sure you go to unemploymenthelp.ohio.gov and you will be eligible for all of your benefits backdated to the date you became eligible, because they do understand the system has been so backlogged. Across the U.S., 1.9 million people filed for unemployment the week of May 23rd through May 30th. So the total number of people in the country who are now currently receiving unemployment benefits is 21.5 million. That number was in the 40 millions for people who have actually applied, but it has dropped because we have seen the gradual reopening of businesses and we've seen people going back to work. So the losses of new jobs has slowed a little bit. And though applications for benefits are slowing, the latest weekly number is still more than double the record high before the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak hit us here in Ohio. So not great numbers, but it is on the decline for the 9th week in a row, and we can take some solace, at least in that, hoping things are continuing to able to stay open as we track those cases and those deaths related to COVID-19 around the country. If you have not yet received your stimulus check, the IRS has a new tool that is launching. This is for people who are lower income individuals who don't typically have to file taxes because their income bracket doesn't fall in a bracket where they are required to file taxes. Because these people have not previously filed to pay their taxes, they weren't part of that initial group of stimulus checks that went out under the U.S. CARES Act. So you needed to file with income information, with bank information in order to get that check. Well, now there is a new non-filers tool on the IRS website, and it's designed for people with those low incomes. So that's $24,400 for married couples or $12,200 for singles, and also individuals who are homeless at this time. So this tool will be available through the summer and fall, and anyone who registers with the tool by October 15th will receive their payment by the end of the year. So far, the IRS says it sent 120 million checks to Americans through direct deposit, 35 million by check in the mail, and 4 million were made in the form of prepaid debit cards. In the past 2 months, more than 159 million Americans have received economic impact payments totaling $262 billion. There are new initiatives working their way through the House and the Senate as well for a potential second stimulus payment, and that's something that we've been watching. So we will keep you updated with that as soon as more information is available on that. Here back in Northeast Ohio, Cleveland METROPARKS is expected to reopen amenities for the summer. They announced today that they'll be reopening lakefront locations and dining for the summer season. So beginning today, Clevelanders can access East 55th on the lake and concessions, which is across the park district. The amenities were previously closed, of course, due to COVID-19 concerns. So the East 55th Street Marina and Emerald Necklace Marina are now open for boaters. That's with limited hours. There are also guarded swim hours at Edgewater and Huntington beaches. That will begin on June 6th this weekend. Park visitors will be required to maintain safe physical distance, and they will be required to limit those gatherings to no more than 10 people and follow other guidelines, of course, by the CDC. Of course, if you're going to be in groups, if you're going to be closer than 6 feet within people, it is still recommended that you do wear a facial covering, covering your nose, your mouth, and extending under your chin to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Local police departments will continue to monitor attendance and safety throughout the summer, implementing restrictions and also limiting parking to maintain control and safety. That's what the METROPARKS has said in a statement. Now, as we have seen these demonstrations happening across the country, we've seen many images of people doing so safely. Dr. Amy Acton from the Ohio Department of Health had applauded that in a recent press conference. We are taking a very close look at those daily numbers of COVID-19 cases and deaths here in the state of Ohio. Experts have said it will be weeks before we see what kind of an impact these demonstrations might have, because there is a 14-day incubation period for COVID-19 and then some time to see if that transmits to other people. So we'll take a look right now at the numbers that we received yesterday from the Ohio Department of Health. We got those in at 2 p.m. And yesterday, with those new daily reported cases, we were up in every single category of new cases, new hospitalizations, and new ICU admissions, but we were down in terms of new daily reported deaths. So as of yesterday, there were 442 new reported cases of COVID-19. That's up from 366 on Tuesday. The number of deaths, there were 41 new deaths reported on Wednesday, which was down from Tuesday when we saw 52 new reported deaths, and on Monday when we saw 51 new reported deaths. In terms of the number of hospitalizations, we saw 75 new reported hospitalizations on Wednesday, which was up from 64 on Tuesday and 63 on Monday. And then when we look at intensive care unit admissions, we saw 21 new ICU admissions reported on Wednesday, up from 14 on Tuesday and up from 13 on Monday. Let me give you a recap of the total numbers that we now have. These date all the way back to March 9th, when we first learned of COVID-19 being here in the state of Ohio. Total number of cases, 36,792. Total number of deaths, 2,299. Total number of hospitalizations is now at 6,251, and the total number of ICU admissions is now at 1,604. As we said, as Governor Mike Dewine will not be having a press conference, we will be having the George Floyd Memorial on television, on 3 News, and streaming on our social platforms. So there will not be a 2 p.m. update for 3 News Now today. We will have those new numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health at 2 p.m. Those will go live on WKYC.com, and you can also find them in our WKYC app, which if you don't already have that, this is a great time to download it so that you can get those push notifications and be up to date on everything that we talk about. And of course, everything that we talk about here on 3 News Now, you can always find on our website and in the app, so you can go into more detail, read more thoroughly about what's going on here around the country, how it's impacting us here in Ohio, and specifically everything that's happening here in Northeast Ohio. So I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. when it is that magical day that is Friday. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm Stephanie Haney.